I followed the advice, and I made some money.
And if you call now, we'll also send Money's exclusive financial guides, a 3-part series that will help you manage your money, build a future, and achieve your dreams. Now they're yours, free.
Free? Love that word, free.
Free. Free guides are a great idea.
They show you how to save your money.
All 3 of the guides would be great to hold on to.
They show you how to keep it free and save it for retirement.
Perfect.
Call this number now. Get a risk-free issue of Money and the guides free.
Give it to me now. Absolutely.
If you like your risk-free issue of Money, do nothing. You'll get 12 more informative issues, 13 in all, for just 4 easy installments of only $8.99.
A no-lose proposition.
Or cancel and keep your first issue plus the guides free.
I have saved quite a bit of money because of Money Magazine's recommendation.
Money Magazine has helped me manage my money.
Money puts you in control. Call now. Examine your first issue of Money Magazine risk-free. Plus get Money's financial guides free.
Try Money Magazine for free. I mean, it's at no risk.
You can't lose.
Well, democracy is going to need an umbrella or a slicker on Tuesday, at least in the east. Let me show you the forecast weather map for Election Day. Across the eastern seaboard, lots of heavy rain right up into the Great Lakes, into the upper Midwest. And notice, too, the snow showers beginning in Wisconsin on through Minnesota. Further southward, then, across the high plains, back into Colorado, into the southern Rockies, more snow showers. And through most of Kansas, Missouri, more in the way of scattered rain shower activity with yet another storm sliding on in. Some clear sky across parts of the Ohio River Valley, down through Dixie, and in the north and western United States. Likely some clear sky there, but quite a bit of foul weather across the nation for Election Day. We'll keep you posted as to any changes and, of course, the progress that the storms make as that big storm moves into the upper Midwest, into the Great Lakes, and then on up into Ontario and Quebec in Canada. A bit of a sticky mess there, and it'll be chilly, of course, across most of the north and central United States for Election Day, Tuesday. We're looking forward to that. And, of course, the weather throughout most of the southern reaches of the nation will be just a little bit better. That's a look at your weather. Now more with David French in Washington, D.C.
And Ted, the Space Shuttle Columbia finished its 4-million-mile voyage today with a flawless landing. Columbia touched down at the Kennedy Space Center to end a 10-day journey. The mission received some criticism for its modest scientific goals. Flight Commander James Weatherby called the mission a success, though, and an earthquake research satellite deployed by Columbia's crew is already working to measure ground movement. Critics say that the work could have been done by unmanned rockets. Customs officials in India are looking for sex. That is, Madonna's new show-all coffee table book. A customs official said today the book will be banned under India's Obscenity Act. Passengers carrying the book should expect customs officials to be searching through their luggage looking for the forbidden item. Passengers carrying the book will be fined. In Japan, several dozen copies of sex made it through customs after censors covered 4 pictures with ink.
Speaking of ink, with time on their hands and paper at the ready, members of a unique group of writers in the southern half of California are hoping their scripts make the big time. They're prisoners at the federal penitentiary, and they formed the Prison Writers Club. CNN's Patty Panicha reports.
Tom Palmer is writing a script that will take Hollywood by storm, or so he hopes.
I want people to really see what these problems are on the street. Not see them from Hollywood's perspective, not see them from the police's perspective, but see them from the perspective of the person who lives there.
From a person like Tom Palmer. Homeless at times, he's now serving 20 years for bank robbery at the federal prison in Lompoc, California. Palmer is president of the prison's Writers Club. Behind barbed wire and prison windows, they meet. About 40 prisoners, and channel their feelings and frustrations into words, short stories, novels, poetry, but mostly screenplays.
I've experimented with drugs before, and when I write a good scene, that's the best I've ever had my whole life.
Another high for them has been continued visits from members of Hollywood's Writers Guild.
They have a level of experience, they've lived, they have something to say, which often is not the case with younger people, with college students.
Despite what Guild members say is a tremendous amount of talent, none of the prisoners has found a Hollywood agent willing to peddle his scripts.
We're looking for a way out. We're not going to write our way out of prison, but hopefully we'll be able to do something when we do get out of prison.
Meanwhile, they spend what spare time they have when not working regular prison jobs, writing and rewriting their scripts.
The screenplay is about a fellow from another planet, Windman, and his nemesis, Kinos.
and taking all the advice they can.
Then, once you've got the narrative treatment, the story nailed down, then you can find ways to tell it visually.
Any writer knows selling a script takes time, but time is something they have a lot of. Patty Panicia, CNN reporting.
He was a hero in Western movies, and he was a hero as a member of the armed services.
Whatever movie he was in, he was great. He was truly great.
10 Days of the Duke, only on TBS.
If you're under a physician's care for high blood pressure, ulcers, or asthma, then your choice of a non-prescription pain reliever is especially important for millions of people like you. The one doctors recommend most is Tylenol.
Gas pressure means pain and bloating. And the way doctors see it, your best choice for relief is Mylanta Gas. It has the best medicine for gas.
Bill Clinton's economic plan, endorsed by over 600 economists, including 10 Nobel Prize winners, as the best hope for reviving the nation's economy. More than 400 of America's most respected business leaders say the Clinton plan will create jobs. A panel of independent experts convened by Time magazine concludes that Clinton's plan has the best solutions to our economic problems. And now even the author of Ross Perot's plan has endorsed Bill Clinton for president. Let's get our economy moving again.
It's about 90s style, fashion, decor, and beauty. It's about living, your health, exercise, and medicine. It's about the world. Where to go, what to see, and how to get there. It's about taste, good food, and cuisine. It's about showbiz, entertainment, and glitz. It's about everything that interests you. I'm Christy Brinkley. Join me for Living in the 90s. Weekdays, 10:30 Eastern on CNN.
This time next week, we will not be bringing you any presidential campaign stories. There will not be any more reports on who's ahead in the polls. Instead, the U.S. will be looking ahead to the presidential inauguration and the opening of a new Congress. So today, we bring you what could be a last look back at the campaign season.
And let me tell you right from the start, and right from the heart, I know we're in hard times, but I know something else. This will not stand.
I'm here for one simple reason. I love my country.
I have concluded that we cannot win in November. I believe it would be disruptive for us to continue our program.
I thought he had more guts than to drop out this early.
You're right phonetically, but what else? There you go. All right.
There's been a tad of speculation about my future, so I wanted to meet with you today to explain what I'm going to be doing and why.
Join us, work with us, win with us, and we can make our country the country it was meant to be. Hey! Ding, ding, ding! Keep hope alive! Keep hope alive! Keep!
Life
I was relieved that year when I saw that my number was 311, not because I didn't want to serve my country, but because I believed so strongly that our policy in Vietnam was wrong. I still believe that.
Well, I would like to thank the Vice President.
Now, Murphy Brown, listen closely, because I'm only going to say it once. You owe me big time.
Volunteers in all 50 states have asked me to run as a candidate for President of the United States. Jim Stockdale, our vice presidential candidate, and I are honored to accept their request.
Your father was right to stand up to Joe McCarthy. You were wrong to attack my patriotism. I was opposed to the war, but I love my country.
It's ridiculous that a member of Congress can serve for 30, 40, 50 years and you limit the terms of the president, but that's another subject.
We're fixing to limit one.
Yeah.
I believe that character is a part of being president.
I don't have any experience in running up a $4 trillion debt.
We are going to win this election on November 3rd.
We can start rebuilding America Wednesday morning.
Been a long campaign season.
Yeah, a bit long.
Almost over. And that is it for this edition of Early Prime. Thanks for joining us. I'm Natalie Allen.
I'm David French. Natalie, thanks for coming to Washington.
Enjoy.
And vote early, vote often on Tuesday. President Bush will be appearing on CNN's Newsmaker Sunday. It's next on CNN, so stay with us.
On Election Day, CNN encourages you to vote and to watch your vote count. Stay with CNN for continuous live coverage beginning Tuesday at 4:30 Eastern.
Now you needn't go to the symphony to hear the classics when you can own the collector's library of best-loved classics. This stupendous collection features every important category of classical music ever written. Best-loved overtures. Best-loved symphonies. Best-loved concertos. And best-loved dances. Plus, you'll get best-loved ballets and best-loved piano music.
The Collector's Library of Best Loved Classics is just $19.95. To order, call this toll-free number now.
This is CNN.
Just 2 days to go, and the candidates are scrambling for every last vote. 2 days, and this man will either be out of a job or re-elected in what will prove to be a stunning upset. President George Bush, today on Newsmaker Sunday.
From La Crosse, Wisconsin, this is a special edition of Newsmaker Sunday with Frank Sesno.
And welcome to Newsmaker Sunday from La Crosse, Wisconsin. Wisconsin, a key battleground state, where we are joined today, as we said, by President George Bush. Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be with you, Frank. Nice to see you again.
Welcome, Mr. President.
Glad to be with you.
To one of those nutty Sunday talk shows.
That's right.
I'm not sure if we're nutty here or not. But,
but don't take it personally. I mean, I'm very selective in who I put into that category.
Okay, well, I'll hold you to that. 48 hours to go and it's all over. How's that feel?
Well, it feels good, and I'm delighted that the campaign will end, and I still feel very confident of victory, because I believe the polls have just been totally out of whack, and so I've just driven down on the message, economy, which is better than people have thought, and they're now seeing that, and then I think trust and character. I believe that's why I'm going to win, is people are going to say, look, man may have made some mistakes, but we trust him with the major problems of this country, trust him with the crisis if it arises, trust him with our families.
Well, you cited the polls a couple of days ago, especially our poll of likely voters, which showed this thing narrowing to a horse race. Now, these numbers today show something else happening. And today's numbers that we've just gotten among likely voters show Bill Clinton with 43%, which is up 1 from yesterday, you with 36%, which is down 3 from yesterday, and Ross Perot at 15. So how do you attribute this?
I can't
the drive
explain
stopped?
it. No, heavens no. I can't explain it. I just got a very good news on Wisconsin here, so I can't explain. That's one of the things I've been saying. Nutty pollsters. I mean,
Yeah,
nutty
but our poll
polling.
wasn't nutty a couple of days ago.
I listened a couple of days ago. I said, look, I can't be crowing about something that looks better when I've been criticizing them when they were out of whack. And I did say that a couple of days ago. But Frank, you don't live or die by an overnight poll, trick or treat. You know what I mean? Last night. So just take your message to the people, emphasize leadership, and emphasize character and trust. And I believe I'm going to win. And you can cite one overnight poll, and I can go back 2 weeks ago and said, hey, I heard some of these same pollsters decreeing me dead and buried. They're not doing that now.
Let me ask you this, in terms of its effect on the campaign, this whole question of Iran-Contra, which just suddenly came up, as you yourself pointed out, on Friday, for whatever reason, has that hindered your effort to get a message across?
No.
Not at all?
I don't think so.
Well, let me show you something. When I got in here, and I'm not blindsiding you with anything, but it just struck me so. Here was the lacrosse paper that was in the machines. New notes confirm Bush not telling all on Iran scam.
Who wrote the story there?
It's from Tribune Wire Services. This is the Lacrosse Tribune. And isn't this the kind of thing that presumably was headlines, right or wrong?
Well, the headlines don't help, but I don't think people believe this. It's the same old charge that's been refuted. It's been aired to the tune of $40 million of the taxpayers' money. Commissions have looked into it. Committees have looked into it. And so it's not helpful, but it just seemed a little weird on a Friday before an election that something like this is elevated. But the fact is, I've told the truth all along.
Do you understand why, or does it seem consistent as to why this would cause so much trouble for you when you have gone so hard?
I don't think it causes so much trouble. Do you remember 1988? Dogged by Iran-Contra. I used to tease our friend Jerry Boyd of the New York Times about that. Didn't make any difference. People are tired of this, and I think they know I've told the total truth.
Well, it may not make any difference, sir, in the way you view it, but if you look at the polls consistently suggest that a majority of the American people don't believe you, regardless of your best efforts.
Well, too bad, because I've told the full truth, and if I hadn't, you can bet your neck that this highly partisan Congress would have tried to make something of it.
Have you ever wanted to fire Lawrence Walsh?
I'm not his strongest admirer, but he's got his job to do, and I got mine.
You ever wanted to fire him?
I'm a little confused as to why all this sudden new charge appears on a Friday before the election. But American people are fair. They can sort this out.
If you're reelected, would you fire him?
I'm not going to discuss what I'll do about that.
But you don't feel that he has done his job. You feel that he's been on a political campaign.
I think it's been a big witch hunt out there. When you see a decent man like Cap Weinberger going through all kinds of hell, I just say, hey, this is going on and on and on, and I hope it'll end soon.
For the record, if I may, since the questions have come up, did you know early on of Weinberger and Schultz's opposition to the Iran arms initiative?
Yes, but I didn't know how strongly they felt about it, that there was a kind of a ravaging fight going on. And I did know that. And I've said that, and I've testified to it.
Well, except in your autobiography, Looking Forward, you seem to say that you didn't.
Do you want to spend the whole time talking about Iran?
No, but it seems...
Because I don't.
I understand that, but the only reason I bring it up, and the reason that Bill Clinton brought it up, as you well know, is that because character and truthfulness and veracity and the connection to his draft story and...
It's entirely different here. I've testified 450 times, answered 450 questions, a lot of it under oath, 3,500 staff questions, and on the draft, you have a man saying he's going to bring the records out on April 17th. They don't happen. Have new reports about ROTC records being destroyed, and you have different stories on different sides of it. I haven't done that.
But there's a suggestion that there are different stories on different sides of this, that you didn't know, that you weren't in the loop, but then a memo comes out that says you were part of something that...
This memo is confirmed by this. I thought you might bring all this up and dwell on it. Here's the thing, there's reports on the meeting. It's now revealed as something big and new. Here's the meeting reported in a congressional study which confirms what I've said and what Weinberger said. Except it says here Bush took no position.
I understand. It says that Bush took no position. Isn't that the point? Because isn't Caspar Weinberger's memo specifically saying that Bush did take a position?
Put his word ahead of President Reagan's. That was his impression. President Reagan today will say there's no arms for hostages.
Well, that was the other for-the-record question. Do you feel that it was arms for hostages?
Well, I told you in retrospect, I'd have to say probably was, but not at this juncture.
You said yesterday that you welcomed the spotlight, and being attacked on character by Governor Clinton is like being called ugly by a frog, which was an interesting way to put it. You have characterized this campaign as ugly, and I'm just wondering whether you feel you have a responsibility in having an ugly campaign.
Not particularly. We were the first one. Look, Frank, I've been attacked by these Democrats for 11 months before I even started to fight, and I can dish it out, and we'll see if they can take it. But it hasn't been pleasant. What I'm talking about, the ugliness, is a lot of it has to do with that famous bumper sticker, annoy the media, because I think most people concede that the media has been very unfair. There's no point arguing about it, because they always come on and say, hey, have we been fair or not, and try to assess it. But I think that's what I'm talking about.
What specifically was ugly from Governor Clinton?
I'm not talking about Governor Clinton. I told you all the criticism out of the media is just.
But I'm talking about the ugliness of the campaign. Has Governor Clinton been ugly toward you?
Personally? Well, other than calling me a liar, I don't think so.
And what was his accusation that you were a liar about?
I don't remember, but it was in a paper about October 27th, something. I can't remember, but it's not a very pleasant word. But I don't take all that personally. Listen, he's got his campaign to run, I got mine.
So the ugliness that you see generally speaking from the media?
Well, I think it's been pretty bad in some of the campaign people, but it's just been a crazy year. Most people feel that way, that politics is not very pleasant. And I've never seen it quite like this. It's a general kind of thing.
Governor Clinton, I mean, in this area of an ugly campaign, Governor Clinton yesterday accused you, I believe it was yesterday, of appealing to prejudice, of going to one place and essentially accusing him of being a hillbilly, going someplace else, saying he's too liberal, going someplace else and suggesting he's a redneck. Comment?
No comment on that. I mean, he's running his campaign. I've never accused him of being a redneck. He knows that. I'm just saying he has a sorry record in Arkansas. And people in Arkansas deserve better. I mean, to be 50th in the environment and, you know, all the statistics that we accurately point out. But look, he's struggling for his life. I think he felt something slipping away from him, and so it didn't bother me. Go back and look at other campaigns.
Okay. When we come back, a look at how this campaign, ugly or otherwise, is being portrayed in the battle of the television ads. Stay with us.
We're going to be out country. Thank you. Go to the polls. Go to the polls.
Welcome to South Dakota, Mr. President. Glad to be back. Welcome to South Dakota.
Your business information system is nothing to tinker with. You need the right hardware, software. You need connectivity, compatibility, LANs and comprehensive service and support. To maximize productivity, you need to make all the pieces fit. You need Sears Business Center's Network Integration Division. That's right, Sears Business Centers. Call to find out about the new Hewlett-Packard LaserJet 4 printer, HP's highest quality laser printer designed to give you optimal performance for PCs and network environments.
I dreaded this visit to the doctor. I had stomach problems. You know, more chalky medicine to take. I mean, just getting it down is... But what my doctor told me about really blew my mind. New Mylanta gel caps.
Introducing the antacid with absolutely no chalky taste. New Mylanta gel caps. Potent antacid relief now in an easy-to-swallow gel cap. New Mylanta gel caps.
My doctor said Mylanta.
Send a hug from far away. Brighten up a rainy day. Flowers say what words can't say. It's
Whatever you need to say, your FTD florist can send the right bouquet. And remember,
It's as easy as FTD.
November 3rd, CNN's live election coverage begins at 4:30 Eastern with analysis, regional reports, and up-to-the-minute results. With so much at stake Tuesday, there's only one network to watch for the most complete election coverage, CNN.
And welcome back to La Crosse, Wisconsin, where we're talking to President Bush this day, just 2 days before voters across this nation go to the polls. And a quick reminder to our viewers, we did invite Ross Perot and Governor Clinton to join us for our weekend discussion shows, and they both declined. So, again, thanks to you for joining us.
Not at all.
Speaking of Ross Perot, before we get into some of the ads, this is really historic that we have this independent third-party candidate dipping into his vast wealth to make this appeal to the American people, coming down to these last 48 hours. Again, if we believe the polls, grabbing more support than a third-party candidate has ever enjoyed at this point in a campaign before. Yesterday, he had some remarkable words for you. He said not only won't you win, but you don't deserve to win. What do you make of this guy, and what do you do about it?
What do you think an opponent's going to say? Is that so unusual?
But it seems to be additional invective aimed at you.
Well, I suggest you ask him about that. I didn't even know he said that. So.
Well, he's aiming more at you than he is at Bill Clinton. I'm wondering if you think this is hurting you more.
No,
2-on-1?
I don't think so. Well, certainly 2-on-1, but I don't believe it's going to hurt me more.
How do you get those voters who still are leaning toward Mr. Perot back to you?
Well, I think you just simply say vote for George Bush. Don't waste your vote. A third-party candidate has it almost impossible to win. And then point out why, where do you stand on the issues? Do you want to get that deficit down the way the President Bush does, or do you want to rate, tax, and spend the way Clinton does? And I think you just, at the final analysis, I think their Perot voters, all of whom seem like very decent, I know some of them out there, very decent, honorable folks, but I think in the final analysis, they're going to say he has no chance. We don't want Governor Clinton to win. We've had some arguments with President Bush, but that's where we're going to go. That's the way I'd say it's going to break down.
To some of the ads now that are running on television, since the advertisements are obviously an extension of the campaign, you have one television ad that shows this sort of bleak Night of the Living Dead sort of horizon of Arkansas. And
dramatic. Yeah, the black and white ad, I think.
Very dramatic.
Yeah,
and it says that Arkansas is 45th worst in the nation in which to work. Now, I ask you this because along the lines of an ugly campaign, I guess, and accuracy. The statistic comes from the Corporation for Enterprise Development, whose founder protests the use of that statistic, saying there's been a dramatic upturn in manufacturing in Arkansas and increased employment gains and wage gains, partly, not largely, not entirely, but partly due to Governor Clinton. Is your ad misleading?
I don't know about the source of the ad. I don't make the ads. I thought it was a very good ad because Arkansas has not been elevated. They are lagging in almost every statistic, way behind. Governor Clinton talks about increasing more jobs than any other state. He did one year, and most of the year he was out of the state running for president when he said he wasn't going to run for president.
The study that you cite in that ad contains mitigating information, it would seem.
Well, fine. Let people judge it then. You've presented the Clinton case. Let people take a look at the ad.
Well, I'm not trying to present
Well, I've never heard this before, that the man doesn't like his ad. Look, believe me, I don't go into the ads. I just take my case to the people. I do think it's fair to point out that Arkansas has lagged way behind the nation in almost every category. Yes. And they deserve better, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's environment, whether it's lagging 30% of the nation's average on job creation. And so I think it's only fair, having him go after absolutely everything on the federal record and laying it at my doorstep, that people look at the record of Arkansas, because he says, I want to do for this country what I've done for Arkansas. And no way. I don't think that would be good for the country.
But if you're holding up the Arkansas record, that particular ad also says that Arkansas has the worst environmental record, which I've heard you make out on the stump. The study that is the basis for that charge, the author of it says that he wrote to the White House saying that that was a devious and dishonest use of his statistics. Did you know about that?
No, I didn't know he wrote to the White House about it. And I don't even know who we're talking about. All I know is that from what I've heard and believe, that Arkansas is lagging on the environment, way behind.
Are you aware of these ads before they go out?
No.
I mean, so you are disconnected from them completely?
Well, I bear full responsibility for them. I'm not trying to shift the blame as some people do,
Well,
but I don't go into all the ads. I'm
unremitting.
responsible for the federal government. Somebody will put a report out in the Department of the Interior or the Department of Defense. I bear the responsibility for it. Sometimes I know about it, and most often I don't, because they're stacked to the sky high.
Let me ask you this. If life is so bad in Arkansas, how come Arkansas voters re-elected this guy 5 times?
That's very troubling to me. I don't understand it, except it's basically a Democratic state, and until the man started running for president, they were not being compared to the national standards in all these categories. Education's a good one. Bill Clinton, as an education, helped us on setting the national education goals. But I'm told that 70 or 75% of the people that graduate from high school in Arkansas have to get remedial training when they go to college. That's not good enough for the state.
We're going to take a break here, but when we return, if George Bush is re-elected, how would his second term take shape? Stay with us.
Simple joy of driving become a casualty of the times. Introducing 200 turbocharged horses. Uncanny grace. And one of the safest cars Saab has ever built. The new 9000 CSE. A car you can drive hard with your conscience intact.
Add it all up, it's the total college experience that makes Hofstra University the one to choose. For information, write the President, Hofstra University, Hempstead, New York, 11550.
State finals coming up. A lot of pressure to win. I don't eat right, I get irregular, so I don't project a winning attitude, and the boys see that. I tried some natural bulk fiber, but I couldn't take all that grit. Then I discovered Sunrise Smooth Metamucil. No grit in the mix or the taste. Easy to get the extra fiber I need every day to stay regular. You got a winning attitude, you win, if you're lucky.
Metamucil, and you could stay regular for the rest of your life.
Wait, don't adjust the color on your TV. These are Florida oranges, and this is as orange as they get. Now, while some people look for oranges that are very, very orange, Florida oranges are sometimes a little yellow, even a little green. But inside, Florida oranges are rich, ripe, delicious. Outside, this is as orange as it gets. Inside, you can't get more orange. So get fresh Florida oranges this week at your favorite supermarket.
Continuing our discussion with President Bush. Mr. President, if you're re-elected 2 days from now, as you expect to be, how will your second term, your mode of leadership in the second term be different from the first?
I think we've demonstrated good leadership in the first. I think the accomplishments are significant. The world's a lot more peaceful. On the domestic side, we accomplished a lot early on. I think the best time to really move things through Congress is early. There's going to be a lot of new congressmen because of the foul-up in the Congress itself. You're going to have at least 100, maybe 150 new members of Congress. We'll sit down with them before I take office again or have the inauguration, and we can get things done.
Well, have you learned, I mean, has there been any dynamic on this campaign trail, as you've listened to the American people, that you have taken to heart and that you would do differently personally in a second term?
Well, we're going to have a different team. We're going to deal with Congress differently in the sense that I believe I'll try again to work with Congress, but we're going to use use whatever clout I have to insist it be done the way the American people will tell the Congress when I'm re-elected. I will continue to travel. I went to 50 states to be in touch with the American people as president. 50 states. I probably had more press conferences than any president in modern history.
I know, I've been at.
And so I'm in touch, answering questions. and taking my message around. But I think what's different is there's no more politics, and Congress, having fired their best shot, will have to do what the people want on all these domestic things like balanced budget, line item veto, term limits. At least we're going to get some votes on those things.
But
that's what a national election is
there were
about.
votes in the past, but you got bills that were, for one reason or another, in a sense, sabotaged, as you saw it, and there was this gridlock that everyone agrees to. And I'm wondering that even with a new Congress, I mean, other presidents have been reelected with new Congresses before. Granted, there would be more members, but even with a new Congress, projections are it would stay a Democratic Congress. So won't there be the same danger of deadlock?
In that first 120 days, there's going to be a spirit of cooperation. Deadlock only set in after the Democrats felt the only way we can possibly win is to convince people everything is bad in the country and stop the president. It was just pure politics. But that'll change. There'll be a respite for it. And I have no political horizon, so from my end, there'll be no politics. I'll just say, here's what we have to do for the country. You still have a problem with Congress, but I think with a lot of new members, you can forge coalitions, and you can bring about real progress for the people.
Another question.
And we go back to the Clinton election. If he got elected, you'd have Jimmy Carter. And look at what it was then, with interest rates up at 21%, inflation at 15%. It would not be good for the country.
Looking ahead on something else, the Russians have been selling these submarines to Iran. Now, if you're re-elected, and in any case, is there anything that an American president can do to stop the Russians from selling these weapons to the highest bidder to get this desperately needed hard currency they need?
Well, I think if you can work with the Russians, you can ameliorate those kinds of sales. I don't think you can stop everything. We're doing a great job on stopping the potential for nuclear proliferation. We brought about dramatic change in the world because of our foreign policy leadership, and I believe that I would be the one of the 3 people running for president to do the best job on that, for sure.
Even though the sales are going ahead now?
Well, even though, plural?
2 submarines?
2.
Tanks?
Well, I think you got Eastern Europe that has to sell their products, but I don't think you can totally stop countries. They can't stop us. But I think you can ameliorate things. I think you can guard best against proliferation if you know what you're doing. And we know what we're doing in foreign affairs and domestic affairs.
And we will be back for a final few minutes discussing these things with you in just a couple of minutes.
September 1957. Road and track on the Volvo 444. With a car like this, who needs a sports car? October 1992. History repeats itself.
Risk. As hard as it is to live with, it's impossible to live without. At Merrill Lynch, we know that risk can be dealt with. It can be managed. It can even be turned to your advantage. To do that, you need a partner. A partner who understands it and can help you turn a world of risk into a world of opportunity. Merrill Lynch. We're bullish on the future.
Preview election night on Larry King Live at a special time, 5 p.m. Eastern. After you vote, see how the race stacks up and hear from the campaigns. A special edition of Larry King Live, Tuesday, 5 Eastern on CNN.
President Bush, there are millions of voters around the country who voted for you in '88 who don't, or at least now say they don't plan to do it again. In these last 2 days, what could you possibly say to change their minds?
Say the economy is getting better. Don't listen to those that say we're in a recession. Look at the character issue. Look at the trust issue. We're going to have a new Congress to move this country forward, and that we have the best agenda for not only renewing this country, but for leading the world.
Has this election been, in the way you've gone about it and we've gone about it, an anomaly, something bizarre, or sort of a watershed change?
I think the press has been the worst it's ever been, ever, because I've never seen press having little seminars, have we been fair, before. But I think when you get down to charges between candidates, there are plenty of precedents for that, so I think it'll probably be ranked as about average in that regard.
Okay. Mr. President, thank you very much for your time. We'll be watching you and listening to you over the next 48 hours until we all go to the polls. With that, I thank you for joining us from La Crosse, Wisconsin. Of course, we hope all of our viewers, and then some, will be voting, exercising their democratic right and privilege. And of course, we hope you will stay with CNN over the next couple of days as we cover these last hours of the campaign. And of course, on election night, the returns as they come in. Our special coverage begins at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, I'm Frank Sesno from La Crosse, Wisconsin. On behalf of President Bush, thanks for joining us.
For a transcript, send $5 to Journal Graphics, 1535 Grant Street, Denver, Colorado, 80203, or call 1-303-831-9000.
On Election Day, CNN encourages you to vote and to watch your vote count. Stay with CNN for continuous live coverage beginning Tuesday at 4:30 Eastern.
If you'd like to give a special gift to a boy or girl 8 years old and up, get your pencil ready and write down this number, because I've got just the answer for you. It's National Geographic World Magazine, published especially for kids by the National Geographic Society. World brings real-life adventure, page after page of fascinating articles and pictures in National Geographic color. Young readers will have fun exploring Earth, sea, and sky, the environment, and ways to protect it, and enjoy articles on sports, hobbies, science, and adventure. World entertains while it fulfills curiosity, stimulates the imagination, and encourages your youngster to read more. It's amazingly inexpensive for 12 colorful issues of World magazine. Compare this unique once-a-month, 12 times a year gift to a single gift from a toy store, and you can see what a bargain this is. No shopping, no wrapping, no shipping. You cannot buy World magazine at the newsstand or bookstore. You can get it only through the mail, and it's so easy to order. Just call with that special child's name and address today. Call 1-800-257-1257. Each issue has exciting surprises, challenging games and puzzles, inspiring stories about other kids, plus extra-large pull-out pages. All this for only $12.95 for 12 issues. Plus, we'll include junior membership in the National Geographic Society. Your child will receive this welcome kit that includes a membership certificate, an ID card, a colorful iron-on emblem, plus the chance to